Ludwig's custom order guide is a powerful spreadsheet that's available on Ludwig's site. And today we'll take a look at how you can access and use it. It's hidden pretty well. It's actually under the literature section of the Ludwig site. And over on the left side, you'll see the custom order guide. And this is a little thumbnail of it. Ludwig updates this usually in the spring, a couple months after the NAM items come out. So I'll just hit this red button here to download it. And it's going to ask me to save this Excel file. And the file itself is not real big. It's bigger than an average Excel spreadsheet, and you'll see why in a moment. So I already have this open in Excel. And there's a little warning right here that says that you should enable macros. And this is why I really recommend that you use Excel. You can open this in Google Sheets. If you have a Mac, you can open it in Numbers. But it really works best in Excel with the macros enabled. And in a moment, I'll show you why. I'm on the Classic Maple tab right now. There's also a Legacy tab, and then the Gallery, which I'll get to in just a moment. So these are all, we'll start with Classic Maple. I see all the Classic Maple sizes here, starting with bass drums, floor toms, and then snare drums. So to start to configure the drums, you simply put a number in the box. So if I wanted a 14 by 22 bass drum, I put a 1 in. There's the price. If I scroll down to the bottom of this column, you'll see a running total for the order. This is why it's good to have the macros enabled. If you get into this pretty far and you realize, oh, I messed something up, you can simply click Clear Page, and that will reset it. So let's go back and let's build. We'll get a 14 by 22. Let's do a 16 by 16 floor tom. And we'll do a 9 by 13. So this is kind of a fab configuration. And while I'm at it, I'll throw a snare in, and let's do the 6.5 by 14 snare. So what you're looking at here is the suggested retail price for what we just configured. We're not done yet. So now we move on to the finish. And the finish will change the value, but you won't see it here next to the individual drums. So right now our total is $38.70. So let's take Red Sparkle. They've been making that forever. I use an X when I do the finishes. You'll see the yellow clears, meaning I picked the finish. And you can see the price didn't change because Red Sparkle is just a standard wrap. But if I pick something like the vintage Black Oyster, if we're going to give this the Ringo look, now you'll see that the price will jump up because that is one of the more expensive wraps. We also can see here that we have some of the painted finishes, the lacquers here, and then some of the exotic finishes. As we move through, the yellow means that we have yet to choose our options. So I can choose what kind of hoop I want, whether it's natural. I can do a full width with a wrap on it. So we'll just do kind of the satin black with the inlay. So again, I'm marking this with an X. There, the yellow disappears to show me I picked. You'll probably notice that some of the items have bold text. And as far as I can tell, that's just showing us the default, what Ludwig would normally build that drum with. So I'm just going to stick with those for now. So we'll do no tone controls and no tom brackets. And of course, we have chrome. Now, on some, I could choose brass. It just depends on what drum I'm building, but brass isn't available to me. It's dimmed out. Now, this is kind of interesting. The badges, the large gold keystone badge is the badge that they started to use when they moved to Monroe in the mid-'80s. And of course, you can do that 70s era blue and olive. The cast brass is the one that they use kind of as the standard now with the Classic Maples. And then for this year, we have the 110th anniversary badge. So we'll use that badge for this. Since I picked the snare drum, I can pick the strainer. So we'll go with that P88, and et cetera here as I move through. I can even pick die cast hoops here. And let's put a tone control on the snare drum. So again, anything that I see in yellow is asking me, do I want a tom holder? We'll go virgin bass drum. We'll take those new classic claws. We don't want a cymbal mount. The cymbal mount is interesting. I will point out here is you can pick if you want a shell-mounted cymbal mount, then you pick the location for it as well. So we'll just do regular key rods, and we'll go with the Elite Spur. So then it comes here. I can actually pick by drum what lug I want to use. Notice the snare drum has other options for it that aren't available. So I can't use a club date lug on a bass or a floor tom here. All right, so I'll just do the large classics on everything. And let's do a tube. Again, I can pick the heads, bass drum. There's no option there. However, I can pick over here whether I want clear, smooth, white, or ebony for my resonant head. And we'll just go with this. And if you wanted to build the concert tom look, right there is where that is. Okay, so I've kind of built out this set. Let me go back over. There's the price that I currently have. It went up a little bit because I picked die-cast tubes. Now, way over here, and this is something that Ludwig hides, but if you scroll the whole way over, what you see here is basically the order for this kit with all of the Ludwig part numbers. So I could print this or copy this and send it to my Ludwig dealer and say, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And that leaves very little margin of error to just call a dealer and say, this is kind of what I want. As long as you've input the correct information here, you're going to get exactly what you wanted from Ludwig. So the other thing I want to show you is this third tab, the gallery. There's a lot of options here. So what Ludwig has done, this is why the file is a little bit bigger. There are images for all of the parts, most of the parts. So if I scroll over here, I can see all of the tom mounting options. I can see what the different spurs look like, the tom brackets. And this is kind of small here, but it even gives you details on how you can combine things and what tom arms work with each. Here are the strainers. The piccolo strainer is not shown here, but there's the P85, the Millennium strainer, and the new P88s. And this shows you what the different snare butts, and it even has illustrations to show you what these different lugs look like on different sizes of drums, different depths. So the Ludwig configurator, again, it's hidden on the Ludwig site, and it's under the literature tab. I don't know why that's where they keep it, but that's where it is. And you simply download that Excel file. Again, I recommend that you use Excel, enable the macros so you can easily reset, and then you'll get an idea of the price. Now, most Ludwig dealers are not going to charge you that price. They will typically take a discount off of that. So it's a good idea to bounce this quote off of other people, this build, and see what the dealers come up with. There are other things that Ludwig can do. So if your dealer has a really strong relationship with Ludwig and there's something here in the configurator that you would don't see but you really want to use, by all means reach out to the dealer and ask, and the dealer can contact Ludwig and see if that can be done for you. So that's a quick look at the custom order guide. If you have questions about it, just sound off in the comments below.